I'm Roger Williams. I'm glad to be here, but I must tell you, the reason I'm running is because of people like Sophie. Is that not unbelievable?
Yeah.
She did a fantastic job. And real quick, a little housekeeping items real quick, is we are filing by petition. Many of you have already signed the petition. You don't have to do it, but we're going to do it to show our grassroots support, so if you do that, I appreciate it. My daughters always tell me, Daddy, you didn't tell them about the website. So you got to go to rogerforsenate.com, okay? rogerforsenate.com, and go look at the other one that we have called theobamaeconomy.com. Check it out. I think you'll like what you see if you'll do that. And then Ross Gage is with me. You're going to see Ross a lot. Dwayne Horner, many of you know Dwayne, is also with us, so they're part of a great team that we got. And also, I don't know if any of you are going down to New Orleans this weekend to the Republican Southern Convention. But if you do, I'm going to be speaking down there. I'm going to be speaking, it's going to be, the lineup is Jim DeMint, Roger Williams, and Michelle Bachman. So we're looking forward to doing that. Just briefly about me, a little bit about me. I am Roger Williams. I'm your former Texas Secretary of State. But more importantly, I'm a business owner. I've owned my own business for 40 years. Still own it. Still fighting those government regulations everybody's fighting. From Fort Worth, went to TCU. Been married for 28 years. Got 2 great daughters. And they're 2 great conservatives, I must tell you that. So I'm proud as heck of them. And when Senator Hutchinson announced, if you remember back in December of 08, she was going to run for governor. Well, I left being Secretary of State and chairing the Texas Victory Initiative. Governor Perry asked me to chair. Then I announced I was running for the U.S. Senate in January of 09. I had some stop and go driving in between, you know. But so we have, that's when we announced. And I really had a major concern. I wanted to make sure we had business people on the ballot. And we'll talk about that here when you tell me to start talking.
All right, let's ask question number 1. Can you, I don't hear that it's on.
No.
Let's try that. All right, national sovereignty. The United States seems to be losing our national sovereignty as we more frequently seek approval or permission from the United Nations. How can we continue to be a part of the UN and not lose our sovereignty?
Well, I don't think we need to ask permission from anybody when you're the United States of America. Number 2, the UN is a real problem. I mean, you look at the UN and they got 53,000 employees. We're paying for 22% of all the expenses. We're getting nothing in return. You look who they put on the Human Rights Council. It just goes on and on and on. And the problem with the UN, what they're doing, which I think they need to quit doing immediately, is they need to quit being a platform for terrorists to get up and talk about how to destroy America. They need to quit bashing Israel, okay? And they need to quit making public policy. That wasn't designed for that. So at the end of the day, the UN right now is not helping us. We need to take a good look at it. If we're going to be in the UN, we need to be more in control. It needs to be thinking more like we do, and that's a real problem I have with them. That would make a pretty good office building up there, wouldn't it? If we cleared it out. So I think it's a real problem the way the UN is acting. If we're going to be a part of it, then we need to get better control. If not, we need to get out.
Immigration. The U.S. has a long history of welcoming immigrants from all over the world, but it appears that it's become very difficult to prevent illegal immigration. Do you consider this to be a significant issue? And if so, how would you attempt to solve it?
Well, illegal immigration, I think, is the most pressing issue we've got right now in America. There's no question about it. You've got 2 issues down there. All of you know what they are. You got the drug war, and then you got the illegals. The drug war is going through the ports, and the illegals are coming between the ports. It's a real problem. And the federal government, as all of you know, is responsible for defending the borders, which they are not doing. Okay? And I will tell you this, that unless we get the borders secured, there's no point in having any more dialogue. The problem you got is it's a huge national security issue. It's a huge, we have no idea who's in Texas. We think we got about 6 million illegals in Texas. We have no clue who is here. And nobody wants to talk about it. I'm the only one in my race that says we need to put the United States military on the border to defend the border. You see, I'm for boots on the ground, I'm for barriers, I'm for everything, but let's put the military down there. Let's train the military down there. Let's let the guys at Fort Hood, Fort Bragg come and train for 2 weeks on the border. Okay? We've got to do it. And these drug guys, I'd love for them to see what the United States Marines look like and see how good that might work out for them. But the problem is you merely look at the situation. Nobody thinks about the security part of it, okay? They think about the illegals coming over here wanting a job. But let me tell you, it's a security problem. You really have to look at Fort Hood. Look at the guy in Lubbock who's going to blow everything up, right? Look at the fellow, remember last summer when we captured the kid that was going to blow up the Fountain building in Dallas? We had the agent with him, and he actually punched the codes on his telephone to blow the building up. He lived in Italy, Texas. Fort Hood was a terrorist activity. The kid from Lubbock, right? Texas Tech. They're trying to blow Wrigley Field up. They're trying to blow Times Square up. It goes on and on and on. It's a security issue, and these people are living right here, and we don't have a clue who's here. So we've got to secure the border. I think we do it with putting the United States military down there. We got 27,000 troops tonight on the border of South Korea. Why can't we have 27,000 troops on the border of Texas? You see that? Secure the border, then you begin the dialogue on helping people realize the American dream and make it easier on harder on employers, who they're hiring, that sort of thing. But forget all that until you secure the border. And I'm a big proponent of doing exactly what I said. That's the way we're going to get it fixed.
Okay, 3, the budget. The United States is over $14 trillion in debt and continues to increase at over $4 billion a day. Do you support or oppose Paul Ryan's budget, The Road to Prosperity, and why? Okay, that's a great question. And first of all, let me remind you, I'm the only person in my race that owns a business. Okay, I'm the only person fighting these government regulations like all of you are fighting in this race. I get it. I understand. I know how to create jobs. The Paul Ryan plan is a good plan. I would support it. It's got a problem. It doesn't cut enough. Okay? Here's the problem. Paul Ryan's plan wants to cut out $6 trillion over 10 years. That's $600 billion a year for 10, right? We've got a $1.4 trillion annual deficit. We're going to continue to go in the hole. Now, if you have a business or your family, if you're negative cash flowing $5,000 a month, you don't cut out $500. You cut out $5,000. So what we have to do is we have to cut out $1.4 trillion. And I would say cut out $1.4 trillion. Now you're balanced. Now you see what's left in America. You lower taxes, you create more taxpayers. You also use the $2.1 trillion in cash flow that we have right now, okay? And you begin to build America back. And what I'm telling you we can do, if we cut out $1.4 trillion, we lower taxes, we create more taxpayers, we create more revenue, use the $2 trillion we got that's cash flowing now, empower individuals, empower small business owners and families, and take $1 trillion every year and apply it to the $14 trillion in debt. And if you're and these young people right here, if they're in kindergarten today, by the time they're a sophomore in college, we can deliver them a debt-free America. And why shouldn't that be the empowerment that we have as our generation? To try to become one of the world's greatest generations. We have to do it. And these continuing resolutions got to stop. I would not vote for the debt ceiling increase. Are you kidding me? When is it going to stop? You have to stop it. You have to force hard decisions that everybody makes every single day in business or at their homes. These politicians act like they make the only hard decisions, then they get a committee to talk about it. You don't have time for that. You cut out $1.4 trillion, you lower taxes, you create more taxpayers, you get a balanced budget, you begin to reduce the deficit, and you deliver a positive America with a positive net worth. So Paul Ryan's plan is good, it just doesn't cut enough. Okay, the size of the federal government. Constitutional scholars argue over the scope of the Constitution. Proponents of big government often cite the General Welfare Clause, as well as the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states. What is your opinion? Does the Constitution give unlimited authority to the federal government? And if not, why? Well, there's a thing called the 10th Amendment that gives the states the powers. Okay? But this Constitution has been thrown out in the trash by this administration. Okay? So, the 10th Amendment is what you got to talk about. And the liberals use this word welfare. They're all over that whenever they see the word welfare. Welfare is opportunity, is what it means. It's opportunity. So, the Constitution does not give the federal government just a total carte blanche. It's actually just the opposite. And we need to understand that. See, I think the federal government should do two things. Collect our taxes and defend our borders.
Period. Get out of the way.
Absolutely.
And turn it over to the people. See, the greatest asset America has is not America. It's Americans. And we've got to remember that. Okay? And so the Constitution empowers us as individuals, not the federal government.
Last one, the right to bear arms. Despite Supreme Court rulings that the Second Amendment is an individual right, many states continue to have very restrictive laws on the purchase, storage, and transportation of firearms, which essentially infringes on the right to bear arms. What is your stance on this subject, and how will you fight against the anti-gun lobby?
Well, I own a gun, and I'm a lifetime member of the NRA. I believe in I'm one of these few, not in this room, needless to say, but some out there. I believe the Constitution is what it is. It is what it is. It's not living and breathing. What does Nancy Pelosi say? It's living and breathing. You can adjust it as you see fit. It's not. The Second Amendment says individuals have a right to bear arms. And to me, that's game over. There's two things that keep me grounded when you send me to Washington. It's the Constitution as it's written, and it's the Bible. How hard can it get? What does the Constitution say? What does the Bible say? Okay, then you move on. So the Second Amendment says we have a right to bear arms, we have a right to gun ownership, and that's the way it is. And
So how will you fight the anti-gun lobby?
well, you're going to have to fight them by reminding them of what the Constitution says. Challenge their argument. I mean, it's like anything we're going to have to fight the liberals with. See, the liberals have no basis. They just throw everything out there, and we have to prove ourselves. And I think that's one issue we've got to do. We're not doing so good in Washington, is we have a lot of people that say, you know, I'm for the Second Amendment, you know, I'm for gun ownership, or I'm for lower taxes, I'm for this and that. But we have a lot of people that are not good explainers. You know, they say, well, how can you do that? Or where does it say that? And we don't really have the answer. We need explainers going to Washington right now. We need people with a business background, with a constitutional background, that say, okay, I'll tell you, here's how this works. So when you say, how do you fight it? The best way to fight it is keep control of the House, get control of the Senate, and then you fought it. Then it's over with. They can talk all they want, but they can't get anything passed. And then make this guy veto everything, but hopefully we'll have a conservative in the White House too, come 2012.
A lot of friends.
Have a question or two from the audience.
Okay, question and answer?
Yes, sir.
What would you like to do about the growing energy costs and on oil and rising costs?
Well, what would I do about the growing energy costs? Well, first of all, we have brought that on ourselves, haven't we? I mean, that we just created a heck of a problem. If there was ever a time in America's history, ever a time for us to be dominant in the energy business, it is right now. It is right now. And when I see our president going down to South America, all right, Brazil, giving them $3 billion, saying, drill, baby, drill, we'll be your best customer, I don't like it. Okay? When I see Cuba drilling in the Gulf, when I see China taking our drilling rigs, I don't like it, okay? We need to make ourselves energy independent. We need to be the dominant force. When you send me to the U.S. Senate, I'm going to energize the energy industry. I'm going to incentivize the energy industry. We're going to drill in Anwar. We're going to drill in the Northwest, all of the shales for the coal and the oil and the gas that's there, okay? We're going to drill inside the 50-mile coastline, okay? We're going to drill. And all the time that's happening, I'm also one of those. I'm for all the above. I'm for nuclear, bio, wind, you name it. But the difference is, I want the private sector to tell me where we need to be the next 25, 50, 100 years, not the federal government, okay? We can create jobs. There's so many jobs out there to be created, but you got to have people willing to fight for the industry. And I'm willing to do that. I get it. I know how to do it, okay? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
My question is, I'm Johnny Marshall from Bedford, 3263 C. Sorry, Todd Smith area. I apologize for that. You're talking a good story, a really good story. I said he's talking a really good story.
I'll give him the mic, then I'll take it from you.
He's talking a really good story. It really is. Put it close in.
Hold it right in your mouth. Hold right your mouth.
Okay, the problem is, nobody else, no other Republican currently in office are working down. We need to get that all down. What are you going to do? You're a junior senator. You got absolutely no authority to touch it. We've got to get rid of who's up there today.
We need, what Johnny's saying, we need to replace the people that are up there. All I'm saying is I'm one person. And the way we get control is you send people up there one at a time, okay? I'll be a speed bump until we get more people up there, okay? But the fact of the matter is, that's one reason I'm running. Look, I have never run for office in my life. I've never been elected to anything. I'm just a small business owner for 40 years now. I've been selected to do a bunch of good stuff, okay? And my life is great. I've already had my career, okay? I'm not trying to create another career. I'm not going to be a professional politician. But I got to get up there because I believe it's our generation's Valley Forge right now to stand up and do something. This is it. It's not 2016. It's not 2020. It is now. The most important election of our lifetime, Johnny, was 2010. And 2012 is our next election. That's why you've got to send me up there. I'm not a professional, and if you think sending more elected officials and more politicians to Washington right now is the way to go, then I'm not your guy. But I believe it's time for the private sector, moms and dads and grandpas and business people, it's time for us to have our chance. Because we've seen what politicians have done, and they have messed it up big time, okay? So, in answer to your question, I'm just one guy. I am talking a good game. I'm talking the right game. I believe it. You can see I don't have my teleprompters in front of me, okay? All right? I know what we need to do. But I love my country. I love my state. I am concerned that it may be worse than what we believe it is. So if you will send me up there, I'll work really hard. I tell everybody I'm going to serve 2 terms and come back home. I'm not going to take health care from the government. I'm going to take it from my little business that I have, okay? I'm not going to draw Social Security because there is no money there. And the first day I'm up there, I'll give myself a 10% pay cut because that's what CEOs, that's what moms and dads have had to do since September of 2008 to exist. I will do every bit of that when I get up there the first day. So I'm just saying to you, Johnny, you got to do it one at a time. And the thing about it is if we don't do it one at a time, we're going to lose because that's the only way they win.
That's it. Time's up.
Is that it?